I'd like to ask you a personal question. If you don't feel comfortable answering this, you don't have to. When you start dating someone new and you start telling them a little bit about what it is you do and what it is you enjoy, how do you gauge their reactions?
In general, I've got a very good sense of humor, so I try and bring it up that if the person is late for our date or something like that, that I'm going to give them a spanking, and to see if they give me a chuckle or if they look at me with a harumph kind of an attitude and say, oh, whatever. So that's generally it. And also, I'm a pretty open person, and I tell them if they're not into trying new things in the bedroom, then they're not going to be compatible with myself. I have questionnaires which I give out to people who are new at it, and I go over a list of things. I've got quite a deviant imagination, so I'm into a lot of different fetishes and fantasies, and obviously it really has to be consensual. There's no fooling around here, and with good communication, I can find out what my partner's fetishes or fantasies are and concentrate on the stuff that we both enjoy. And if something doesn't turn them on, it's not for them or it's not for me. It's fine and dandy. There's a lot of different things to concentrate on.
You've been in this lifestyle for many, many years. I'd like to ask you now, what are some of the obstacles or sacrifices that you feel that you've had to make, or some of the obstacles you've had to encounter being in this lifestyle? For the benefit of the people who maybe are listening and would like to experiment with this and maybe follow through on trying it for themselves.
Well, a lot of this stuff pretty much goes on behind closed doors. I mean, I'm pretty sure everybody has put a blindfold on their lover at some point or tied them up. The thing for some of us is we tend to be a bit of exhibitionists and like to go to public venues. And being outed, again, like someone being gay, is not really good in the real world because most BDSM play is depicted as some of the stuff that you'll see on TV shows, Law and Order or whatever, where there's always a death involved, and it's quite the opposite in BDSM. It's just your mind is your largest erogenous zone, and you're not out to hurt anybody. You're just out to explore it. And another obstacle that I find is the fear factor. Getting new people to try something new is obviously very scary. There's a lot of trust involved in this. When you have somebody tied up and there is no place for them to go, you better be damn sure who you're playing with. Those are the two biggest fears.
Now, your website, www.attitudes.ca, has actually a section on how to play safe and how to meet people safely. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, obviously, like I was saying, it's extremely important to trust the person. There are a lot of people who get off on the fear part of it, and I've had a lot of women who their fantasies are is they want to come down my hallway, they want to blindfold outside the door, and they want to walk into the unknown. And that is about the stupidest thing you could possibly do. But I have a wonderful way to get around something like that. I would have them meet a friend of mine, and male or female, whichever they felt comfortable with, in person, and they can talk to the person, and I would give them my driver's license and phone number and full address, and that person would talk a little bit about me, and plus would give them my full information. And I would encourage these people to have what's called a safe call. Tell somebody where you're going. If you're too embarrassed to say that you're going over to be spanked or whatever your fantasy is, just tell them you've met somebody on a phone line or through a blind date or whatever, and you're going to their house and you're not 100% sure of what's going to happen. And if you don't hear from them by 12 o'clock or whatever, then call the person's house first. Make sure you're not still there having a good time or they didn't forget. And if you're not satisfied with the police, then or with the results, then yes, call the police.
In that situation where you would have them meet a friend of yours, why wouldn't you want to meet that person yourself?
It's that's an interesting question. Some women that I've met over the years, the fantasy is not seeing the person, to be blindfolded and let the person take you on a trip or a journey or a ride or whatever you want to call it. And then at the end of the scene, they can see your face or whatever. So again, it's the fear of the unknown.
And I'd like to ask you, do you have sex with every person, every woman that you regularly play with?
For the most part, no. Well, then again, define what you mean by sex, but I guess we're talking about intercourse. For the most part, no. I find that people have so many different fetishes and fantasies that I can basically do a scene or a session and refrain from intercourse. If I play with a partner for several times, then we can progress to oral activities or, yes, intercourse. But most women are looking to explore fantasies of pain. I'm not talking about the kind of pain where you stub your toe on the bed. I'm talking about prolonged and brought up very slowly in a sensual manner on the upper back or the buttocks or the genitals, sorry. When done very slowly in a very loving manner, you get a high like a jogger or an athlete does. And we call it flying. And that is an incredible adrenaline high for some people. Some women like the taste of the whip on their back, and I've heard from many of them that they've actually orgasmed from that. Others like the embarrassment of being taken over my knee and given a good old-fashioned bare bottom spanking. Some like to be used as a sex toy. Again, or just different role-playing games in general like that.
So from what you're saying, it sounds like there's not necessarily an expectation of intercourse or oral sex, that the fetishes that you're living out actually might be the be-all and end-all for certain people.
Yeah, that's pretty much it in a nutshell.
You're listening to Frank Talks Pleasures and Lifestyles, and we'll be back right after this.
Frank Talks is sponsored in part by Everything Out of Her Mouth is a Test, a man's guide to the emotional needs of women. What would your life be like if you knew exactly what to say and do with women? This book is for the guy that simply wants to learn how to handle women's tests by addressing her emotional needs. By this, you create the type of attraction that will make her see you as the one she was destined to be with. This book will teach you how to get the woman you want and how to keep her. Everything Out of Her Mouth is a Test is the Rosetta Stone for men to understand exactly what a woman means when she speaks and how to respond. Is that worth changing your life forever? Buy this book at franktalks.com now.
Frank Talks is sponsored in part by the program How to Build a Social Circle Network, the 3 stages of the Frank Point Man system. It's who you know, but do you know how to get to know these people you need to know who are the ones in the know? Well, now you will know with this Frank program. Find new friends, make new lovers. Was this the year that you promised yourself that you would be more social? Create new bonds of friendship and family and have a social life? Maybe even find the one, or many. Ever wonder what makes a person the life of the party and an example of charisma? Do you know how to manage secret sex between friends so that your social circles are always maintained in your favor? This program teaches you all of that and more through Frank's original Point Man system, a 3-stage process to building and managing multiple social circles. How to build a social circle network, the 3 stages of the Frank Point Man system. On sale now at franktalks.com.
Frank Talks is sponsored in part by the book I'm a Man, That's My Job, The Philosophy of a Seducer. Ladies, have you ever wondered where all the real men have gone? Do you turn to your women friends because you cannot find a true man in your life? Do you want the man in your life to step up and know what it means to be a man that can make you feel like the woman that you are? Are you tired of mothering the men you date? Give these boys the gift of manhood. The book, I'm a Man, That's My Job, teaches men to create their own seduction persona, personal inner game, and how to take the lead in a relationship. Buy this book now at franktalks.com.